my name is Ryan Lane, and welcome to my review channel. So for today's review, I will be covering Dune 1984, written and directed by David Lynch. I thought I'd do it, since I've reviewed Dune Part 2 in the prior video, and I recently rewatched Dune Part 1 from 2021. So this seemed about as good a time as any to review the movie. Now, I should note, I will be going into spoilers for this movie, but I mean, honestly, the film is almost 4 decades old at this point. Either you've seen the movie or you haven't, or you just don't care about spoilers. So there will be spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Now, usually I go over a plot summary, but I mean, at this point, like I said, the film is 4 decades plus old, and the book is even over 5 decades old at this point, going on 6 decades. The book was released in 1965, so I won't be going into a plot summary. So, I mean, if you really need like a basic outline, just, I don't know, look it up on Wikipedia, or, I don't know, go to your nearest Target, find the Dune novel, and just read the summary on the back. You'll get a decent idea, despite the fact that this film basically takes the story of Dune and compresses the hell out of it beyond all recognition, but nevertheless, you'll get the basic outline from Wikipedia. So the film's writing is by a country mile the weakest part of the movie. The film overuses VO narration, as characters will have an inner monologue and explain plot details to the audience like they're children. Some of the details are just completely unnecessary. Other details are so absolutely necessary that if it weren't there, you wouldn't understand the story, which is a really bad sign of screenwriting. Plus, Princess Irulan, she sporadically narrates the movie throughout with a big exposition dump at the very beginning of the movie, and she grated on my nerves for almost the entire movie. Like, you know that one clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger where he tells in like Kindergarten Cop where he yells at the class to shut up, shut up? That's how I felt every time Princess Irulan came in the story to narrate things. I was like, I don't need you here, I can see what's going on. Either that, or she was just dumping exposition at too quick of a rate for me to properly process. The film's writing is just so bad when it comes to conveying plot details about the movie, especially because the film will overly repeat details. Like, you can tell there was studio interference on this movie. Like, at one point, Princess Irulan, says, Lady Jessica, she gave birth to a son, even though the Bene Gesserit wanted her to only give birth to daughters. And yet, at one point, the film repeats that same plot detail, like, barely 5 minutes later in the movie. I was like, okay, come on. What is going on here? And the film does that again for plenty of other plot points consistently throughout the movie. The writing also does so many of its characters dirty, as like many of them are either underutilized or underdeveloped. Like Gurney Halleck is played by freaking Patrick Stewart, and yet he feels like barely a footnote of a character in this movie. Plus Duncan Idaho, like in Dune Part 1 by Denis Villeneuve, he gets his death scene, yeah, spoilers, but like I said, his death scene is such that, he gets like this big heroic standoff against the Sardaukar army, like not even a stab wound to the gut will get in his way. And this movie, like when the Atreides stronghold in Arrakeen is attacked, he just gets shot to the head, and that's it. Like, unceremoniously dropped off the map. Plus, Alia, Paul's sister, is introduced, and the film just sort of speed runs through the character. It's like, oh yeah, there's this kid, and she has powers. Yeah, deal with it. And the same can be said for so many of the other characters. Like, for crying out loud, Dr. Liet Kynes is played by Max von Sydow, and like, again, like I said, Dune Part 1 did the character better. Plus, the writing also makes a fatal misunderstanding of the source material with regards to Duncan's role as the Lisan al-Gaib. It doesn't call him that, but basically the Fremen think of of Paul as their Messiah. In the source material and in the newer films, like, this is kind of portrayed as a bit of an iffy, he is, but not really. This was just a story propagated by the Bene Gesserit. With Dune 1984, it's like, yep, this is okay, Paul's the Messiah, yeah. And also, on that note, the film runs through so many plot points, like Paul's love arc with Chani, just like, it's relegated to just some VO narration provided via Princess Irulan. And I guess on that note, Chani is also woefully underdeveloped. Plus, Paul's integration into the Fremen tribe is just, again, it's also sped through. Again, like I said, just watching this movie makes me appreciate just how good an idea it was to split the Dune novel into 2 parts, because it allowed it to develop the story. With this one, it feels like, the David Lynch, again, I'm not sure if this actually happened, but it feels like David Lynch just read the Spark Notes version of Dune and then tried to recreate the screenplay from that, and it covers all the basic plot beats, and yet it doesn't delve into the book's richer themes. The film also, how should I put this? It makes choices when it comes to Paul's power set as the Quishit Haderach. Pardon me if I butchered the pronunciation here, but I don't know. None of the characters seem to care about pronunciation, as so many of the big character names are consistently pronounced in different ways. So, but yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, like Paul's power set is so inconsistently portrayed. It's like at one point it introduces that he can telepathically communicate with others, and it's like, okay. And then at the very end of the movie, he makes it rain on Dune. Yeah, I was like, what? That makes no sense. It's like, how? Yeah, all I gotta say is, if you thought the newer Dune movies took creative liberties with the source material, you ain't seen nothing yet till you've seen the 1984 film. The performances don't fare much better either. Again, like I mentioned, not even Sir Patrick Stewart can save the material. Like, as Gurney Halleck, he feels woefully miscast. Like, the film just, like, especially, it doesn't help the fact that when, the film, after the Atreides stronghold is raided and everyone is cast out into the Dune seascape, like the film at one point tries to, do what they did with Josh Brolin in the newer movie and, like, give him ultra long hair. And, Patrick Stewart is bald, so, I don't know, just seeing him with long hair in the back, I was like, oh, nice try, movie, but yeah, no, that looks so fake. Yeah, and all the actors, their line deliveries feel just so off and stilted. Like, the Atreides characters and the Fremen, they feel so stilted and lacking life in their delivery. Meanwhile, the Harkonnens are so over the top, it's almost hilarious and just insane in their energy. Like, Baron Harkonnen, it's like, what the heck kind of delivery direction did he get from David Lynch for this movie? Again, and weirdly enough, the stilted delivery and the over-the-top deliveries, they unfortunately don't balance each other out. The only performer, I feel like, who managed to give a solid performance was Sting, of all people, as Fade Rautha. Again, I personally prefer Austin Butler, but Sting does a pretty good job of capturing, the unhinged, insane, manic energy of the character, minus the honor part. Again, like I said, I prefer Austin Butler better, but, again, without all the performances in this movie being as so subpar as they were, I'll take what I can get. So for a film that is nearly 4 decades old as of this writing, well, yep, the film looks pretty good. Like, again, the visuals have clearly aged, as the miniatures and green screen effects are instantly recognizable, but the visuals do look good. They help convey the epic scale of the novel, and it's clear that they had an influence on the newer Dune adaptations, everything from the costume design to the design of the planets. Like, you can tell again, a lot of thought went into the designs. I mean, some of the effects have aged better than others. Like, there's one green screen effect on Caladan. Like, they couldn't even properly key out the green screen for that shot. But again, all the other shots look pretty decent given the fact that this film came out in 1984. Plus, the costumes are all distinct, and they help distinguish each faction of the Dune universe. I will say, the one unambiguously good thing about this movie is the score by Toto of all bands. Like, honestly, the score is so banger. The score combines a synth with an amazing electric guitar riff that makes, all of the moments in this movie feel more epic than they are. Like, when this film shuts up with all the expositional dialogue and voiceover narration and just lets the guitar riff and the visuals do the work, this film feels pretty awesome. Like, if this film had the writing quality of, the newer Dune movies, like, Dune 1984 would be an awesome movie. But, unfortunately, that's not the case. So, despite having amazing visuals and an amazing score, Dune 1984 fatally misunderstood what made the Dune novel so compelling. So with that in mind, I will be giving Dune 1984 1 out of 5 stars. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. If you like this review and would like to see more like it, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And for today's comment section prompt of the day, do you enjoy the 1984 adaptation of Dune? Why or why not?